change, decay, and hollow acceptance. As defiance slowly begins to weaken, as the fight slowly starts to leave one's eyes, you begin to accept your fate, and you begin to accept the changes that you must make. And you look out from behind your barred windows, and you show the world that everything is fine. You show the world that you're okay, when deep down inside you are decaying. You are accepting your eventual oblivion. You are accepting the destruction of yourself. But on the outside, you're just fine. Autumn. It's gonna rain like this for days. I'm gonna drown in my old ways. But I'm fine. I'm fine. It's gonna hurt like hell when you pull back the hammer and fire. But I'm fine. I'm fine. You see a storm knock down my superpower. Now I sleep through thunder showers. Wake me when you learn to be cool. If I'm the captain of this boat, then all my shipmates are fools. And all the stars in the world couldn't help me steer my way out of this kiddie pool. I'm gonna wake up from this dream with nightmares lined up on my street. But I'm fine. I'm fine. Needed a hand to keep my head up, so you put hooks in both my ears. But I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah, it's a chronic pain in my ass, but no, it's not a burden. It's ironic that I drink to make my insides stop hurting. And it's a love that gives me heartburn. It's a song that makes my stomach turn. And I wouldn't trade my hand for all the aces in the deck. 'Cause I'm fine. 'Cause I'm fine. 'Cause I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I had considered that I may be insane, considering all the things that occurred to me over the spring and summer. Of course, the preceding events could not have been created by any rational mind. At least, that's what my senses of denial and the brain's sense of self-preservation was saying. The world still exists as you once knew it. It's just you that's gone mad as a loon. But, as these things go, reality eventually asserts its dominance over the illusion of denial. Marcus did his absolute best to watch over me the following days, doing his best to make sure that I was comfortable, taking care not to say anything wrong or do anything to upset me, doing his best not to mention the woods, doing his best not to force me to look outside. He even went as far as to not go outside often himself, though I knew he loved the outdoors. And it was a wonderful feeling to know that someone cared for me enough to change their way of life. and it was a terrible, disgusting feeling to know that I had forced someone to not be able to do what they loved. And for all the comforts and safety of home, I was still trapped and in fear. Even in my dreams, I found I was still under attack yet again. The following nights after coming home, much like before, despite falling asleep in comfort and warmth, nestled in security, I'd reopen my eyes and find myself in the cabin. The old cabin rotting away on those dark woods, and there, standing in the doorway, stands Billy, the old man just the way we had found him, dressed in his bathrobe, and like the day we had found him, the head was cocked to the side, the dark, crimson hole with burn marks still in his temple where the bullet had entered his brain and ended his life. And blood drooled in long ropes down his slacked jaw. And though his mouth sputtered open over and over, his tongue flapping in an incoherent manner, I could still hear an old man's voice clear as day. I could only assume it was his.
Sing, kid, sing. They need you. Go. Go with them. Whatever the fuck there ever is, go with them. Sing.
After the dreams of his wife Ruthie, I was leery, afraid of my impending nocturnal demise. No, not again, not again, I'd whisper to myself, fear treading all through my soul. And his tongue would slide lower out of his mouth, sliding amongst the crimson drool, coating it.
You aren't going to win this. You can't win this. Ruthie didn't, I didn't, and you won't. Save yourself the pain.
I always prided myself on one thing, that in a life where people always told me I couldn't do things, that I couldn't be things, that I couldn't love who I wanted to love, my spine and courage always reinforced myself to be who I was. And I found that old fervor again. Fuck you, you old fool. I'm a free man, and I'll find a way. His head rolled about, cracking with wet snaps, and, in a lightning-quick motion, the long, wet tongue shot at me like a viper. In one instant, I found the slimy thing mere inches from my nose. I finally saw the mouth that I was hearing. An opening topped the edges of the tongue, filled with black spines. 2 pair of black, animal-like eyes stared at me from the side like a snake. Saliva shivered off its mouth as it spoke.
No! You won't! You never will! You have a binding contract with things that are older than time. Before your ancestors were able to make coherent thoughts and were still throwing shit at each other, they were there. They ruled this world.
I tried to stand my ground, but I felt my legs slipping. It felt like I stood on the edge of a yawning chasm, waiting for me to loose. But I still felt myself grow weaker as the thing slid past my cheek towards my ear, leaving thick trails of saliva across it, and whispering angrily,
They are a force of nature, and you think a filthy little monkey like you can rebel against nature?
I found myself falling, slipping into the voice. And with that, the thing's voice screamed.
Sing, Dimitri, and this ends. Don't, and you will never be free.
And I'd wake up, eyes searching frantically to ensure that I was still safe in my bed, that I was nowhere near that cabin. And Marcus was there near me, stable and comfortable. And naturally, I was there, at home. But still, every night, just like before, the same dream was there, the script of it the same, my reactions, my fall, all the same, and despite its eventual predictability, it was still jarring each time. Just like with Ruthie. When I told Marcus of it, he simply frowned, nodded, hugged me, and sighed. He sighed. And when he had, I was unsure if it was out of sadness for me or for himself. Furthermore, after the night in the forest and the dreams, I naturally became fearful of the woods, abject dread when I saw the trees. The time Marcus and I would spend together out there hunting was turned to me waving goodbye solemnly and him walking away with a disappointed face, alone. And I tried to forget what was happening. But as the months went on, closing in on the holidays as more guests would arrive and more holiday music, which as cliché and ever overdone as it all is, I still love to sing those old carols. And I couldn't. So as the guests sang around the fire and the snow fell, I sat in stoic silence, angry, sad, considering how distant Marcus and I were becoming. And compounding on the uncomfortable feeling, Marcus would slip up in his conversations with me. He would say things that would strike my nerves.
Hey, why don't you come with me in the woods? Oh, right.
Or,
come on, you know the song. Just sing along.
And so on. And each time I'd catch him with a glare, which started as glassy, tear-filled eyes, but eventually evolved into angry sneers. Even the guests could feel my anger, as my sense of decorum and professionalism slowly faded, as I had no reason to even pretend to be happy anymore. In a sense, I was losing myself, and losing Marcus. Then one night, as the hotel was empty, and fall was ending, and snow was filling the roads, we sat staring at the fire, eating quietly in awkward, uncomfortable silence, which he was to break first.
Will you sing at our wedding?
Are you joking? Anger coming into my voice as I tried not to spit out the food he had prepared.
Never mind.
Growling a little, I got up and walked over to the Christmas tree we had set up. The last time I can even remember we were remotely happy. Fussing with it and playing with the ornaments, it was the last time we smiled together. I stared at it, remembering that happy time in an attempt not to think of the future. What ifs entering my head. What if it never did end? What if it was stuck this way? What if we were to be stuck this way? I had thought about leaving. But, in spite of everything, I can't leave Marcus. And he would not abandon this place. What if Indeed.
Look, Dimitri, I've been really trying hard to understand this. I mean, I know this has been rough for you, but I have my limits. The thing that brought us together, the thing we used to do together, even the customers are asking.
I shot him another glance. I understood what he was saying. I felt for his situation. I really did. But I still couldn't help but feel angry. I spied the rifle he always kept on the mantel, a stuffed buckhead hovering over it, and thought of a good analogy. I can't help it, Marcus. I can't. It's like, what if someone told you that you couldn't hunt anymore? I said testily. What if some thing came into your dreams, came into where you thought you were safe and made it impossible to be who you were?
Well, have you considered that maybe what you saw was just all in your head?
His own voice was slowly starting to show anger. And what if, I continued, ignoring his jab regarding my sanity, what if the only reason why you can't get away from these things is because you moved your ass far away from home to be with the person you loved, a love that is anchored and rooted to the spot that is terrifying you?
Come on. You saw a dead man with his brains blown out. You've been having nightmares of your own death and all these monsters. Maybe you just imagine this whole thing because you subconsciously want to get away from here.
I clenched my teeth. I do want to get away from here, but I can't, not without you. And you won't leave this place. I know you won't. I walked away from the glittering tree and stared into the windows. I watched the woods beyond, covered in snow and reflecting that pale moon. And there, between the trees, I remembered them. Those animal eyes glaring back at me. My blood ran cold, tempering my anger as it gave way back to fear. My voice shook as I spoke again, realizing it wasn't just Marcus that kept me there, but my fears. And yet, I'm too afraid to even step out. I'm too afraid to put a foot into the woods. I'd feel more safe stepping outside into the dark alleys filled with murderers and thieves than out there. You probably are thinking I'm just a spoiled city boy who wants to go back home to comforts, but He interrupted me in anger.
Well, you're just a spoiled city boy. Probably just realized you didn't want to be in this backwoods-ass country lifestyle and got back to whores and back alley blow.
I lost control. The implications, the hurtful comment. I lunged forward, catching him off guard, and punched him hard in the face, busting the lip open. Wide open. Luckily, nothing broke. I reeled back, realizing what I had done in blind rage. He growled, lifting himself up off his chair in cold silence. He walked over to the coat rack. I'm sorry, I sputtered. He turned around quickly, and I flinched.
I'm not gonna hit you. I'm gonna walk away and stay somewhere else tonight, since you're too much of a pussy to go outside.
And with that, he opened the door and started walking out into the cold towards our car. I tried to speak, but anger and sorrow and regret choked me. He eyed me just as he was about to disappear into the car, and in simple words he spoke.
Fuck you.
Wrath filled me again, and in frustration I snatched the horseshoe that had hung over the doorway, and as he slowly turned the car around in the black night, I flung it hard in his direction. It slammed into the back windshield, shattering it. He stopped, stalled a moment, and drove off. leaving me in the cold doorway as darkness enveloped the receding car. I closed the door behind me. As I heaved a sigh, a knock came from behind it almost instantly. I laughed a little. He must be back either to kick my ass or to apologize. I reached for the doorknob as I considered the best ways to make up. There, standing in the dark, was a person that was not him. A thin, older man dressed in a brown overcoat and an off-white fedora stood there, where I had hoped Marcus was. His wrinkled face smiled at me.
I'd like to check in, please. And it is cold out here. Can I come in, please? Or is there no vacancy?
His voice was younger than what he looked. Oh, yeah. I opened up the door and let him in. Are you, hungry? I asked.
Oh no, thank you. But that fire looks very nice. Oh look, a tree. How delightful.
His voice was unhappy. He walked about into the lobby and paced, like a disapproving father eyeballing a dirty child's room. Right, forgive me for not getting this place nice for guests. We weren't expecting. What's your name and how long are you going to be staying?
Oh, Mr. Carmine Auden will do. And only a single night, please.
I nodded a bit and walked over to the desk where we kept the ledgers. I started writing in his information. He smiled and sat down on the couch. So, Carmine, how did you get here? I didn't see a car, I said as I slid into the other seat.
Walked.
You walked? In the snow? To here?
This is rounding the end of my favorite time of year, so I walked.
He grinned. The nearest place is about an hour away. An hour's drive away.
Why, yes. And I came from a place much farther away from that, Dimitri. By the way, what's that right over the door?
He extended a finger towards the spot above the door, his finger pointing to the dust ringed about in a horseshoe shape. Oh, a horseshoe used to be there. I threw it outside, I said bashfully, hearing the crashing of glass in my memory.
Oh, that's a pity. Do you know what a horseshoe above the door is for?
I shook my head as I got up to stoke the dying embers of the fire.
It's to ward off evil spirits, Dimitri.
I stopped. The first time it didn't resonate. This time, though, it did. I turned around. I don't think I told you I stopped talking. Carmine was standing tall in front of me, his face a twisted smile. I grabbed the rifle on the mantel in a swift, adrenaline-filled motion and slammed it against the old man's head. I heard a crack as I cocked the gun, praying it was loaded. Carmine stumbled backwards into the couch.
That's no way to treat your guest, Dimitri.
How the fuck do you know my name? Are you one of them? Are you? Why now? Why now? You things decided to start attacking me in my own home.
Now, little boy. Let's not do this. I just need one thing.
Anger fueling me to not feel the fear. I put the barrel up against his temple. What?
See.
I pulled the trigger. I didn't want to hear that word. In a shower of crimson blood, Carmine's head exploded. His headless body slumped into the couch, the sanguine liquid soaking into the couch and covering the floor. For fuck's sake. If it had been that easy to kill him. Confidence started flushing into me. I was excited to think that maybe Just maybe, I might actually just be able to blow these things away. Why didn't I think of it before? I smiled a bit as I looked at the body.
It isn't that easy.
It wasn't Carmine's voice, but I knew it. It was one of the voices that haunted me. I heard cracking, like wood or branches in the wind. The body lurched. I jumped back. It lurched again, throwing itself up into a standing position. What the? I didn't get a chance to finish the expletive. His body exploded. Branches of red, orange, and brown vegetation ripped out of his body and asserted themselves everywhere. Each branch topped at the mouth and tiny eyes. They covered the floor, the ceiling, and slammed into me. A voice made up of tiny mouths spoke all at once as the branches were wrapping me, constricting me, squeezing.
Dimitri, so silly of you to cast away the one thing that kept us out of your home. And now here you are without that piece of iron keeping the whims of nature at bay. Why? Why can't you just do what you were told? What you promised to do that night?
The creature said with its tiny mouths. Because I don't want to leave Marcus. I sputtered angrily.
How droll!
It said in bored tones.
If it wasn't for the fact that we needed your kind so very much, I would have long since stuffed the life out of you.
It squeezed tighter. Why? I coughed. Why do you need me so badly? The branches tightened again. I heard something crack and I felt unbelievable pain in my side.
I will explain it to you after you agree to sing finally. Finish your deal! Finish it!
No.
Fine! You need a bit of encouragement. You're Marcus. He will return soon enough. And when he does, I'm going to remove him as an obstacle.
I found myself being turned upside down, suspended as the branches snaked about me.
Won't that be fun? Watching me shove my vines through him, puncturing, tearing, and ripping apart his flesh. Slice by slice. Then, it will be just you, and us, and eventually, we'll win over this game. So go ahead and sing, so that your Marcus can live.
I grew dizzy. I thought about it. I live, and am tormented for the rest of my life. Without Marcus. Or I give in, and he gets to live. Simple, I guess. Proverbial rock in a hard place. Will you leave him alone if I do?
Of course. We don't need him. Yet. But perhaps he'll be smart enough to finally run away from this place.
I nodded. The thing righted me. I closed my eyes. Tears welled up in them.
Sing!
Goodbye, Marcus. I choked.
Sing!
I took a deep breath.
Get the fuck off!
Marcus's voice rang through the hotel, interrupting me. He stood in the doorway, red-faced, angry, tears streaming down his face. He looked at me and back at the thing.
Is there anything we can do to get out of this fucking deal?
Take his place!
The thing slammed me against the wall. I heard another crack, another wave of pain.
Only catch, my dear boy. You need something worth us to take. Are you gifted like him?
Yeah, I got a gift.
Marcus said, and sliding out a pistol. Coincidentally, the same pistol I had taken that summer night. The same one that I had shot the same thing with. And he shot. It snapped through one of the branches, severing it cleanly and going through the buck above the mantle's glass eye.
The hunter. Oh, the hunts we could show you. Very well. Take his spot, and he is free.
The thing said happily.
I'll do it.
He said resolutely. No! No! I screamed. The branches loosened me, dropping me to the ground. Turning their attention, they slammed right into him instead. Anguish and terror coursing in my veins as I crawled, with 2 broken ribs, towards him. No. Please. Don't. No. Don't leave me here. Please. Please don't. I begged, tears streaming down my eyes. His face looked down at me mournfully as he was slowly engulfed in leaves of brown and red and orange. He gave a sad, crooked smile. I don't know what I'll do. Please, no. You, take me instead, please. A branch bashed me in the face, knocking me to the ground. The pain in my ribs was already making me see stars, but the brunt force to the head knocked me out.
You had your chance.
The thing chastised. And darkness enveloped me, and I heard one more time Marcus say,
I love you.
And then he screamed. I woke up to the gray light of dawn. I was still in the middle of the lobby floor, cold, alone. The embers in the fireplace long since faded into ash. The doors still open, now framed with snow. I dragged myself to the couch that I had shot the thing that had called itself Carmine on. I called for Marcus. I screamed his name. Nothing. I did the one thing that I didn't think I could do. I sang. Simple, I sang. My voice harsh and cracking as I did so, but still capable of letting out the song that dwelled in my heart. And nothing. No one. Just the howl of the wind outside answered me back. And freezing, I sank into the deepest despair, weeping under the blinking, twinkling lights of our Christmas tree.